Welcome back, my fellow game developers, to a brand new video, a brand new long video, but it is worth it because now when we run the game, we pick up some coins, we go here, okay, so we can restore health, we can upgrade health, or we can do something much cooler, and that is buy ourselves some weapon. So we get a rifle and then we can go and shoot it everywhere. So let's not waste any more time and let's get to buying weapons. Feels like Texas in here. Okay, so time for the last item that we can buy, which is the weapon. So I'm going to go into the item sprite, and by the way, what I've did off screen is that I added a couple of animations and make sure that the item sprite is on a different level. So there you can see all of them rotate, and you can see the platform have this little animation on it. Pretty simple, pretty easy. I'm not going to go too deep into that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go in here and change the sprite on the last one. And let's go into the sprites, pickups, nope, not the pickups, weapons, weapon pickup. Select this one and let's just add the rifle for now. There we go. So you can see it. Let's make it a bit bigger. Nope, sorry for that. We should somehow keep the aspect ratio. You know what, let's just increase the scale by 2. Nope, not by 2, by 1.5, by 1.5. Okay, great. So now when we run the game, I believe this should be spinning because it has the animator. There we go. You can see that it spins around and wait for us to come and collect it. Now, the difference between the two other items and the weapon item is that we don't want to have, for example, just an item for the rifle. We want to get some kind of random item or random weapon when we want to buy a weapon. So I'm going to go into the item script, and this error is bothering me a lot. And in the shop item, in here I'm going to create a couple of lines. So first thing first, I want to create a serialized field of the weapons system, and it's going to be an array of the potential weapons to buy. That is a long name for a variable. And then I'm going to create a private and the weapon system and the actual weapon to buy. There we go. And finally, we are going to do two things. The first thing is going to get the sprite, because we want to change the sprite based on the weapon that we are going to buy. So private sprite renderer. There we go. And the item sprite, not the item sprite, the weapon sprite. So weapon. So because this is only going to be used for the weapon. And then we are going to get the serialized field, the text mesh pro or TMP pro, yeah, sure, TMP pro, and this is going to be the price text because we want to change the price based on okay, so we can't use this because we need TMP pro, sorry for that. Or you know what we can do, actually we can, instead of the using TMP pro dot text mesh pro GUI, there we go. So that way we don't need to add an entire library. So this is just another way of doing things. And now that we have a price for each of our weapons and a sprite for each of our weapons, let's go into the weapon system. And let's go ahead in here and create a serialized field for the price of the weapon. So int weapon price. And we'll also create a serialized field for the sprite, and this will be the weapon shop sprite. And obviously all of these are serialized fields, so we cannot access them, so we need to create a couple of methods in here. The first one will be a public int and get weapon price, and this will return the weapon price. And then we will have a public sprite and get weapon shop sprite, and this will return return the weapon sprite, weapon shop sprite. There we go. So the weapon image and the weapon sprite are totally different things. Maybe they shouldn't be. Maybe we can have just one that returns the entire sprite. But if you look in here, I want to have the one with the white, little white thin line around it, so we can easily distinguish the weapon. And you know what? You can even change this right here, this one. Let's not worry about that. Let's keep going the way we are. Those little small tricks can then at the end be adjusted, and we can change all of this. So now let's go into the weapons. Where are the weapons? They are in the prefabs. Where is it? The broken enemy weapons. There we go. So the rifle. Let's lock this down and let's see what we have in here. So the weapon shop sprite and the weapon price. How much does the rifle cost? Let's say 10. Let's say the pistol costs 20. Nope, sorry for that. You know what? Let's make the rifle cost 20. Let's go back. The pistol will cost 10 and the shotgun will cost 30, and these are just arbitrary numbers. I don't know, whatever you want to use. Now let's go set up the sprites. So I'm going to make this one a bit bigger so I can see the names in here faster. And what do we have in here? Pickups. Nope, every single time. Okay, so add the shotgun sprite. For the rifle, unlock this. For the rifle, I'm going to add no. This is a bit cumbersome, isn't it? So in here, add the rifle, and finally we select the weapons in the prefab, the pistol, weapons pickup, the pistol, we save that, and now we have a reference to all of these. Great. Now that we have the sprite, we have the weapon price, the next thing to do is to go in start and set everything up as soon as the weapon starts. So in the shop item in here, I'm going to save, I'm going to create a start, and I'm going to issue you a challenge. So your challenge is to check type, select random weapon, set the sprite and the text. So in start, check if we have a weapon type item. You'll need to select a random gun from potential guns or potential weapons. You'll need to set the item cost as the weapon price. You'll need to set the sprite as the appropriate gun. You'll need to set the sprite text also. And I believe this is the last point. So with that out of the way, pause the video right now and go do the challenge. Okay, welcome back. So in start, nope, that's not what I meant. If we have an item type that is equal to the item type dot weapon, then in here we are going to set a couple of things. First of all, we'll create a random selected weapon, and it's going to be equal to random dot range, the 0 and the potential, what is this? The potential weapons to buy dot length. Then in here we are going to select the weapon to buy, and it's going to be equal to the potential weapon to buy on the position of the selected weapon. Then we are going to go ahead and get the item cost, which is going to be the weapon to buy dot get weapon price. There we go. And finally we are going to set the sprite. So how are we going to first of all get the sprite? We are going to get component in children, the sprite, or you know what, maybe this one in here we won't be needing, but anyways, let's just keep it. We'll go into the sprite renderer. This is the component on the children. Why the children? Well, because on this item, which has the actual script, the item sprite is down here, and because no other game object, oh, we do have another game object, which is the item platform. This will be a tricky one, so you know what, for the sake of having everything properly set up, I'm going to make this a serialized field and save that. and then go back, sorry, and then go back into every single one of those and wait a second. Weapon sprite renderer. I was confused there for a second. Sorry for that. Back in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add the item sprite in here. The item sprite. And in here also the item sprite, so we don't confuse any of these. And also, as long as we're here, let's go ahead and add also the price text. So okay, so for some reason I forgot to change the name of these, so this will be the item price text. For some reason I thought we did change this, didn't we? No worries about that. And these are the things that we have to do. We don't like them, but we have to do them at some point in time. So let's go ahead and set everything up. There we go. So now we have a reference to all of these. Back in here, the weapon sprite renderer dot sprite is going to be equal to the weapon to buy dot get weapon shop sprite. There we go. Save that. And the last thing that we need to do is we need to set the text. So we're going to get the price text dot text. And what do we say in here? Let's see what was originally written. So in here, buy weapon. So instead of just buy weapon, we'll start off with buy. Then we are going to concatenate it with the weapon to buy dot get weapon name. And this is a string, so we can do this legally. And then we will say the price, so we'll add these two, plus the item cost. Item cost, and this is an integer. So remember when we had an integer previously in somewhere, I forgot. So you remember, because it was an integer, we couldn't just set it. We had to say .toString. So, and maybe I wasn't clear what this does. So toString just converts any integer or any float into a string and you can use it. But in here, because we are concatenating means we add a plus between a string and an integer, or a string and a float. So when we concatenate a string with an item, or sorry, with an integer, then we don't need to add toString. Immediately Visual Studio and C# code understands that this, although it's an integer, in here we are using it as a string. So we save that, and we also need to add in here BTC. Save that, and now let's go back into our game and see if this works. We still haven't added the gun, but let's see if this actually works, our random selection. So let's go down here. Okay, so a rifle, there we go, buy a weapon, and it did not work. Why is that? Because we haven't added anything to the array. So in here, we need to add the potential weapons to buy, and it's a gun system. So up here in the prefabs, weapons, select the potential weapons, and let's just have the shotgun and the rifle because we are holding the pistol in our hand. So run the game. Let's go and see what happens. So a rifle, there we go, buy a rifle for 20 bitcoins. Let's try this again to try to get the shotgun. Make sure it works. There we go, the shotgun, buy the shotgun for 30 bitcoins. But now when we press E, nothing happens because we still haven't added any way of buying. So back down here, we're going to create a case, and this case will be for the item type dot the weapon. There we go. And now in here we are going to first of all find the player that we want to add the weapons to. So in here I'm going to say that we have a player controller, which is the player who's buying, the player buying. So player buying. I really have a hard time with selecting names for our objects. So find object of type, and as you can see we have redundant code every single time. Maybe we should change this. We are doing a lot of finding. I don't know, I think we should change this at some point. So instead of the player health handler, we are going to get the player controller. There we go. So now we have a reference to the player controller. Then in here we are going to say that the gun that we have, so we are going to instantiate the weapon that we have, so the weapon to buy, and we're going to instantiate on the player buying dot get weapons arm. So just like we did when we were picking up a weapon. So we instantiate the weapon on the gun's arm, and the last thing that we need to do, we need to also set that weapon on the player's available gun. So we are going to go ahead and get a reference to this, because if I remember correctly, if we player buying gun dot add weapon available, there you go, you can see that it takes in the weapon to add. So we'll need to get a reference in here, or you can actually copy this and put it in here. That doesn't look very pretty, that doesn't look very professional. If you look back at the code, you won't understand exactly what's happening. So instead, we're going to create a weapon system in here, and it's the weapon to add, and it's equal to instantiate, and then in here we set the weapon to add, and do not forget to break. This is something that we need. And just in case, we're going to create the default in here. This says that if none of these work, then default debug.log and no item type was chosen. No, I really like the switch cases. They are really nice. If you look at them, they really look very nice. So you have a case, everything is really properly arranged. So let's go back and see what happens in here. In case it's a weapon, we get the player controller, a reference to the player controller. We only have one, so this is no problem. We then instantiate the weapon, we set it in a variable, and of course we set it on the player buying, which has a arm. We always want to set the child, we set the parent of the weapon that we've instantiated as the arm, and then we get the player buying, we add the available weapon. Obviously we need to have as you remember in here, we have the available weapons on the player. We add that weapon, we break, and we have our weapon. So back in our game, let's see if that works. Run the game, and we pick up some coins to buy ourselves a shotgun. So now we have a pistol, we get the shotgun. How cool is that? So now we have a shotgun, and not only do we have it in here, I wish I did not use the maximize on play. And maximize, let's just remove it. So not only do we have the shotgun and arms, and it works and it shoots and it does everything, but we also, if we go where is it on the Doom player, unlock this one here, there you go, you can see that we have a shotgun and a pistol. So with that out of the way, we finished creating all of our shopping items. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you like how the game is turning out to be. Make sure to always commit your changes, and make sure to leave me a review if you haven't already. With that said, I'll see you in the next video.